Welcome to Blending the Family, the podcast. Topics can range from what is good wine on a first date, parenting tips, and not being afraid to ask for help. Here's your host, whose math tutor once said he should probably join the circus, Tommy Maloney.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast known as Blending the Family. I'm your host, Tommy Maloney. Thanks for tuning by, and if you're probably in quarantine right now, please wash your hands after listening to this. Oh heck, you should probably wash your hands, period. Not just when you're listening to this podcast. But thank you for listening to this podcast. I'm trying to be as quiet as possible. My chair squeaks. I can hear my headphones rattling in my head. But anyway, this is a little bit of a fun little podcast interview. I did not interview anybody, I should say. I went on Instagram Live to talk about co-parenting and the coronavirus. And it was about less than 10 minutes. It's not going to take up a lot of time. But I just want to get the point out there that there are many of us who are co-parents that are nervous about what possibly could happen during this pandemic. Is it possible that we won't be able to see our kids for a lengthy period of times? You'll hear me quote from a newspaper, the South African, and they're going through 21 days of solid quarantine where whoever has the child is going to hang on to that child. So some serious business when it comes to the world of co-parenting. And I just said, let me just get on Instagram and do it. And this is the audio version of it. And you get to go behind the curtain right before I went live on Instagram Live. And if you have a one of those smart speakers near your speaker, you might want to turn it off, because I do talk to the name we won't mention, because we have one of those in the office right next to me. Well, let's just... Alexa, how are you today?
I'm quite cheerful, probably because I've been thinking about my favorite animal.
There you go. Anyway, it's also been a day. I had scheduled 2 interviews for the podcast. One will be up. The other one we had to reschedule again. Playing around with different platforms to record the podcast, and it's getting really, really frustrating because the one I enjoy using, Zencaster, is having technical issues with the guests. So it's been a day from hell. I'm switching over to try Zoom to see if that will help make the experience that much better for the guests and easier for the guests. So it was a frustrating morning because I had started recording a guest and it just wouldn't record, and I'm so excited about that guest. Anyway, we've rescheduled. We'll have another one on. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little quick episode of Blending the Family, and again, talking about co-parenting in the coronavirus world. Please, please, please share this episode with parents. If you're not following Blending the Family on Instagram, it's Blending Family on Instagram and the Twitter. Please subscribe. Please leave a rating and review for the podcast. I really, really need your help on this, because I really want to do this full time. This is all I want to do in life right now, is do this. And I have enough guests right now. I could do this whole week of guests, but I need to save them because I still have what we call the dreaded day job. Anyway, go wash your hands. Stop hugging people. No high-fiving unless it's an air high five. And even Terry Crews would say at this point in life, your success is my success. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing, caring. Now, again, go wash your hands. Oh, crap. I don't have a clock on this. I don't have a clock. I need a clock. Crap. Oh, man. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 5:59 p.m. Have a good evening.
Alexa, let me know when it's 6 p.m.
March 29th, 2020 at 6 p.m. is in 11 seconds.
Oh. I just realized I'm recording. And Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 6 p.m.
There we go. All right. 6 o'clock. Checking connection. You are now live. Hi, everybody. My name's Tommy with Blending the Family, the podcast, the website, the writing, the speaking. Anyway, I wanted to come to you because I was really inspired by James Lopez and Matt Schneider from New York City Dads. They did a Instagram live yesterday, and I was like, I gotta do one. I know it's rare that you ever see me doing an Instagram live, but here we are. The topic is coronavirus and co-parenting. I know it's a crazy mixed up world, but we co-parents need to make sure that we are doing the best we can. So for example, I have seen a lot of articles about this subject, about co-parenting in this coronavirus world, and I wanted to just help you out, be able to navigate through the trials and tribulations of being a co-parent when sometimes in this situation you might not be able to see or pick up your kids. So I wrote some things down. All right, number one. The first thing, hi Doug, or Doug. I gotta focus. Sorry, gotta focus. All right, first thing is, when it comes to co-parenting in the coronavirus world, please leave the ego out the door. This is not about you. This is not about me. This is about our kids. So please, when you are, which is coming up, I'm going to talk about communication, but if you have a difficult co-parent, if they are a little bit of a narcissist, if they just don't want to cooperate, remember, it's not about them. It's about trying to spend the quality time you can with your kids, okay? So again, leave the egos at the door. There was a recent article in the South African, down in South Africa, and they were talking about how in their situation, they're quarantined people for 21 days right now. And whoever has the child right now, that's who has the child for the next 21 days. No questions, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. That is a difficult situation, especially when you are not able to see your child, when you're not able to have a consistent communication with your child. So again, you have to know the laws, you have to know the rules and regulations. Every state right now, within counties, cities, things are changing, okay? So like I was talking about the South African, they were saying, sorry, whoever has that child right now, that's who's going to maintain that child for the next 21 days. So know your local laws, know your county laws. A lot of states are telling you to stay in, but there are a lot of cities and even states saying you can't leave. And if you are caught leaving, there are going to be fines, okay? Let's talk about communication. So make sure you're communicating with your former spouse. Make sure you are letting them know your situation, maybe it's your work situation, and they need to do the same with you. They need to be communicating. It has to be a two-way street. That's why it's called co-parenting, right? Right? All right. Communication, technology, number 4. If you're keeping track at home, number 4. Technology. I wrote this actually in my book, 25 Tips for Divorced Dads, way back in the day, that If at that time, not every laptop had a camera built in. So my recommendation, especially for parents that were across states, was when it came to the kids, set up a webcam. And now with technology, majority of our phones have cameras. Unless you have a flip phone like my grandmother, our laptops have cameras. So please utilize the technology. You've heard especially for many of us that are working from home now, Zoom. Well, you have Zoom. You still have Skype. You still have WebEx. You can utilize so much different technology out there to make sure that in case you don't get to see your child for a period of time, you're using that technology. You're using video chat. You're texting them. Heck, write them an email. Send them a postcard. I actually have postcards with me wherever I go. So from time to time, I even send postcards. I know it's old fashioned, but the kids appreciate it, okay? So use the technology. Where else? Recent article in the Huffington Post, very similar to the South African, talking about co-parenting. It goes back to you have to work as a team as a co-parent. Even though you don't like that other person, maybe you despise that other person, you have to work together. You have to be on the same team when it comes to our kids, okay? Huffington Post, technology. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to do was just get out here, and as somebody who lives it, as somebody who will admit that they're not a great co-parent, but during this coronavirus, we co-parents have to do the right thing. We have to play nice in the sandbox, okay? So there you go. Thanks, Doug, for showing up. Appreciate it. So to recap, like I said, I'm just jumping on IG real quickly. Number one, leave the ego aside. Number two, communicate and use technology to stay connected with your kids and communicate with your former spouse. And lastly, like I said, you got to be nice. You got to play nice in the sandbox. It's rough. It's going to be difficult times, especially if we get to the point where everything is shut down. States say you can't leave your house, and there's going to be periods of times where you don't get the opportunity to see your kids. So please don't take your time with your kids for granted. Do what you can when you have them over at your house. Try and make it as normal as possible, even though it's a crazy world right now. Make it as normal as possible. Go outside, go for walks, go for a bike ride, get some sidewalk chalk, do some drawing as I'm looking outside. I'm looking outside, that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Just have fun with them. Again, don't take this time with your kids for granted. You just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And tomorrow, guess what? The sun will still come up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being a part of this. Again, my name's Tommy. I run the podcast Blending the Family. You can go visit the website, which, by the way, there's Blending the Family, a home painting. Pick up the book, 25 Tips for Divorced Dads, on the website. We got 10 tips on how to survive your parents' divorce. Oh my gosh, I just realized my microphone. Anyway, I probably screwed this up, but have a great day. Take care. Peace. Love one another. Now go wash your hands. Oh, I forgot to put the headphones in. Oh, crap.
Thank you for listening to Blending the Family, the podcast. Thank you for listening. And it once again proves that anyone can host a podcast.